If you're over 60, and you've ever sat alone in a room once filled with the voices of your children, this story is for you. Maybe they've moved across the country. Maybe they call, but less than they used to. Maybe they're busy raising children of their own, or just living a life you're no longer part of. You love them, you're proud of them, but there's a quiet ache, a feeling you didn't expect to carry. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Do you remember the moment you realized your children didn't need you the same way anymore? If one comes to mind, I invite you to share it in the comments, not for sympathy, but because this space is built for moments like that. And you might be surprised how many others feel it too. Her name is Ruth. She's 71. She lives in a quiet neighborhood, in a house filled with photos, but not much sound. Her children are grown, both in their 40s now. They live in different states. They have careers, spouses, schedules, lives. She doesn't blame them. That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it? You raise them well, teach them strength, teach them how to live without you. And then they do. But there was a morning, about a year ago, when the silence felt heavier than usual. She had made coffee, just like always. She sat in her usual chair by the window, watching the birds at the feeder. And for the first time in a long while, she cried. Not out loud, not for anyone to see, but the kind of quiet tears that come from realizing something permanent. They didn't need her anymore. Not really. Not in the way they used to. They had places to be, decisions to make, and they didn't call to ask, "Mom, what do you think?" anymore. Ruth wasn't angry. She wasn't even sad in the usual way. It was something else, a feeling of fading, like her place in the world had quietly shifted when she wasn't looking. The house she once ran like a captain now ran itself. The birthdays she never missed were now managed by spouses, group texts, and digital calendars. She still got the cards. She still heard, "I love you." But she also heard something else. Silence. The kind that comes when no one asks your advice anymore, when no one needs your help, when your phone rings less, and your voice is no longer the one they lean on. And maybe you felt that too. I wonder, have you ever realized your role was changing? Not because of anything you did, but simply because life moved forward? If that moment ever happened to you, I invite you to share it in the comments. This isn't a space for judgment. It's a place to remember that being needed is something we all long for, no matter how old we get. Ruth still makes coffee every morning. She still watches the birds. But something inside her shifted after that day. She began writing letters to her younger self. The version of her that once packed school lunches, waited up after curfew, and worried endlessly about her children's futures. And in those letters, she writes reminders. They are living because you taught them how. They are strong because you were strong. They're busy, not because they've forgotten you, but because they carry the life you helped build. And sometimes, when the phone rings and her son or daughter's name appears on the screen, she smiles, knowing they may not need her like they once did, but they'll always love her just the same. If this story reminded you of anything you've quietly carried, a moment of fading, a shift in your role, a silence that still lingers, feel free to write about it in the comments. This space is for you too. And if you'd like to join us for more stories like this, subscribe and come sit with us again tomorrow night.